Greetings and welcome to our show, Fresh Geek Context. It is here we discuss insightful views on a routine bi-weekly basis over the incredibly nerdy things we can't stop talking about. To take you on this dorky ride are your hosts, Josh.
Howdy.
And myself, Jay, so why don't you take a seat, sit back, relax. We're here to do all of the heavy lifting. It's about to get nerdy. This is episode 11.
Year in review.
Goodness gracious me. 2017.
2017.
What a year 2016 was.
Oh, what a year.
Yeah, we want to say to all of our listeners, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah,
Kwanzaa, happy Boxing Day.
and a Happy New Year. So when is it acceptable to stop saying Happy New Year? And is it Happy New Year or is it Happy New Year's?
New Year. Grammar's wrong on the last one.
Oh, no. Damn autocorrect keeps telling me otherwise. So, we were in holiday hiatus, so it is good to be back for this episode, the very last one
Wait, what?
of the year 2016. That's what this is for.
Oh, don't scare me like that.
No, yeah, 2016 is done. Josh and I were talking about our year in review because this was a most peculiar year.
Lots of things happened. Some good things,
Some bad,
some bizarre,
some sad,
depressingly so.
but there is always tomorrow.
And as of this recording, we are 5 days into the new year.
And we didn't want to sully the recording during our holiday breaks, so
So, here we are to recount and reminisce.
recount.
Really?
What? It's funny. It's funny. It's a pun.
Shall we?
All right, fine. So, I guess we're gonna talk about this month by month. Is this how we're doing it?
Yeah, pretty much breakdown.
Okay, so we have a little bit of notes here, and then we could just kind of, I guess, discuss it to the best of our ability, I suppose.
I mean, it's chicken scratch, but yeah, we can read off this.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so the January 2016, man, we are in for a ride. January
Oh, boy.
2016, a wonderful movie came out, which was, I laugh. It was a movie called The Revenant.
I call it the movie where the man hides inside a horse stomach. Was it a horse or was it
I think, yep, he needed to survive.
Yeah, he needs to survive. So there was that scene.
There was that scene, but we need to let them know what it's called. It's called The Revenant, and it was starring
Yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio, which finally, because this was a thing that was on the internet for like several years, Leonardo DiCaprio needs to win an Oscar, and he finally won in 2016. Which
He did finally win.
that should have been the dead giveaway, right? That should have been the giveaway that something was wrong. Like when
Something
you-
was weird and amiss going on.
like, oh, okay, so Leo finally won. Okay, so this must be opposite year. This is the opposite where everything happens.
This is the dark timeline.
This is the
Year.
this is the dark timeline, unfortunately. So, needless to say, we were right because then we got hit pretty hard because January 2016, famous celebrity, musician who's been responsible for lots of different types of music that has inspired countless other people. David Bowie.
Mr. Bowie.
David Bowie passes away. He had cancer. What did he have cancer of? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, I do not remember.
I don't remember either. I was really upset from that one.
Yeah.
So what would you say are your favorite songs by David Bowie?
Oof.
I would
Ugh.
say Let's Dance. Let's Dance is one of
I would honestly probably go with Let's Dance, honestly.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
Let's Dance is one of my favorites. Is also a song that he was featured on for Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014.
That is true, yes.
Yeah, I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy came out in 2014. Moonage Daydream. That was it.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Moonage,
You're,
yeah, that's
you're right.
one of my favorite songs by him. But I mean, we could sit here and talk forever. We're not going to because we simply don't have the time because there was a lot.
That was
Jazz.
the first of many celebrity deaths this year.
That was and again after The Revenant came out and we saw it was Oscar worthy, he might actually win it. This should have been the clue.
Yeah. But David Bowie, as sad as that was for me, David, I listened to his songs and things like that, but that one didn't hit me as hard as the next one in this month, which was then Alan Rickman.
Oh man.
Professor Snape, Mr. Hans Gruber, so many roles. But I knew him first from Die Hard. I didn't know that was Snape when I saw him later because it looks completely different to me. And yeah, that one hit me and a lot of my friends hard because a lot of my friends are huge Harry Potter fans, and then others are Die Hard fans. So that was a big one. And then of course he was in what was it? It was Dogma, right?
He was in Dogma. He was
He
also
was in Dogma,
Galaxy Quest as
Galaxy Quest.
Alexander Dane.
Yeah. Yep.
And I first knew him from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner. He played the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Ah, that's right.
And I absolutely fell in love with his performance. As a kid, I was just like, he was like that guy you love to hate. He was just he was just awesome.
Yeah.
And my favorite line from him was, what was it? Robin Hood, I'll cut your heart out with a spoon. And then Kevin Costner kind of dashes away, and then he cuts away, and you see the Sheriff of Nottingham. He's he's lying on his back on this table, and his constable, or his henchman, his main henchman, is like, why? He's eating something like a fruit, and he's like, why a spoon? And his response is, it's dull, you twit, it'll hurt more. And I'm like, of course he would say that. But
so
he was great. He was such, he doesn't seem animated, but in that movie he's very animated. And so, that's just one of my first memories of him. Then I saw him in Die Hard, and then, I was like, oh yeah, that guy. That's when that time, you start seeing movies and you think like that person is that person.
Right.
You start to recognize faces. Like I was starting to make that association.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, I thought, oh, okay, I know him from Robin Hood. Then I went back and I saw like this rental of Die Hard. And he's another one who stole the show.
Yeah.
And that was hard. And, again, just like Professor Snape, he played that perfectly. As a matter of fact, when I started watching the movies first, so I don't have that same experience that other people have, but I do know that there's a lot of people who read the book, and when you start reading the book, you will start to imagine what a person will look like. You start to play, a movie person. You start to play, like, oh, I could imagine, this person playing that. Cedric Diggory was, Robert Pattinson was not who I imagined for that role at all.
I don't think any of us did.
No, I was imagining a much different than what I got, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But Alan Rickman, that did hurt. David Bowie did hurt too, because music for a lot of people means a lot of different things.
It can mean the world to somebody.
Of course, because music is therapeutic, and you listen to it and you feel happy. You listen to it when you need a pick-me-up, and you live your best times of your life through music. And music and emotion are very much tied together, because when you hear a song, you can instantly go back into the DeLorean of your mind and just remember like where you were when you first heard that song.
Right.
Let's Dance, I got into it because growing up in the 90s, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, was very big in hip hop at that time. And so, you would hear these samples and you're like, oh, I like that song. And, if you don't know anything about music, you would, sit there and you would listen to it and you would think that, he's making this. But as you slowly start to realize, that was all sampled.
Sure.
And when you hear the sample, you're like, oh, okay, this is better. This is much more lively. You could argue that he's paying homage, he's paying respect, or he's just slavishly copying. But that's another conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But David Bowie, that was hard. That was hard for me anyway.
Yeah.
So, and Alan Rickman was very sick. He was also, I think he died from cancer too.
I believe so.
Yeah, that was hard for everybody involved. But then February, somewhat quiet month because
we got a nice little break from death and we got to laugh quite a bit.
yes,
February was the year a lot of people were anticipating for the Deadpool movie.
I wasn't anticipating it.
You weren't, but then you watched that movie and you're like, all right, this movie's amazing.
This movie is pretty good. That's what I said.
Yeah. So I mean, I was definitely anticipating. I'm a Deadpool fan, so
Yeah.
I was very optimistically waiting for this movie, and
I was
did
very
it
apprehensive.
deliver?
Oh, it did. It did.
It delivered on so many levels.
I was
and
apprehensive. I was apprehensive, man.
You're anything with Fox and you and X-Men.
No, well, I was apprehensive because I have reason to be apprehensive, Josh.
You do.
Okay? The last time Deadpool came out was Wolverine Origins. And that was weird.
And it was referenced in the movie, which is amazing.
It was. But that's not an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse at all. But yeah, we knew Deadpool's first outing was not the greatest on screen. They shut his mouth, which they made a joke about.
They
gave him Baraka blades.
What is Deadpool's superpower?
Deadpool's superpower is healing. Well, his healing factor after his accident. But his original power, I think, was just what was it? Just mastering skills, I think it was.
No. His power is the power of his mouth. He has Deadpool
that too.
wit. You know how like Spider-Man has spider wit?
Yeah, he has Deadpool wit.
He has Deadpool wit. So they took.
I thought you were being serious. I didn't think you were going for that.
I mean, it's a skill. I mean, you can't deny it's a skill.
It's a skill.
He does not do what other superheroes can do.
He's not even a superhero. He's an anti-hero, if you will.
Whatever. I mean, tomato. But in any case, I won't call them by their name. I'll just call them the studio. Okay, the studio thought it was a fantastic idea to the idea of taking his superpower of the mouth and just shutting it. And like, I remember watching that in theaters and just saying like, oh, okay, this is a joke. No, wait, they're going with this. They're running with this. They're going all the way to the end.
Yeah. We don't talk about Wolverine Origins, but that's okay because we have this movie now. And we have this Deadpool. We have Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And It was so great. It was so much fun. I love the movie. It's definitely one of my favorites, for sure, of the X-Men universe.
It's the highlight of the year. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, it was, and boy, did it make money. That has to be one of the biggest movies financially to make that kind of return, right? Because the budget was only like 55, and it ended up making what, 700-800 million?
It was the highest grossing rated R film in history.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's pretty insane.
It's pretty insane. I did. How many times did you watch it in theaters?
I watched it 3 times, I think.
I think I only watched it twice. I did watch it twice because I knew I was going to get it on film, and what I suspected was going to happen was because I still watch Avengers to this day. I don't care what anybody says, but like we talked about this. Well, maybe we did talk about this on the podcast because now we have so many. I don't know what we're talking about on podcast or not. But in any case, I watched it somewhat recently, and I don't know if it is as funny as it was when the first time I watched it because it was just so like shocking, like how good it was.
Right.
But once the shocking like humor wears off, it's just a movie about a guy that wants to get his face back. That's what it is.
It is. It's true, but I don't know. I feel like I can pop in the movie right now and just laugh just as much as I did the first time.
Just as much?
Just as much.
I don't know, man. The production value was very good. I do like a lot of the special effects. I like the music choices. And the pacing was good. I like the editing. Like, there's a lot of good things that they did. But I don't know if it is as funny as it was.
Right.
That's all.
Well, let's see what happens because they are. I think they're still. Are they writing the sequel now, or they're still? Or they're gonna
having some difficulties.
They're having director difficulties.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Yeah. I can't sit here on this show and say like, "Oh, I was expecting everything to go smoothly."
Sure.
Things don't go smoothly at Marvel, so why would I expect it to go any smoothly for the other studio?
True.
So,
well, I'm looking forward to Deadpool 2, so let's see.
I'm still waiting apprehensively.
Of course.
And then March came out, which was interesting. If we're gonna go back in time and think about, what was happening around that time, March had another comic book movie that came out, which was by a movie that people have been waiting for since the late '90s, probably.
Probably.
And that movie was called Batman versus Superman: The Dawn of Justice. And wow,
I always forget Dawn of Justice is the tagline underneath that. I always forget. I always just think BVS, Batman vs Superman. I don't think of the Dawn of Justice part.
I mean, but they added that on. It was
originally
It was originally, and look, people, we can have like comic historians and Hollywood historians to come out and tell you things. That movie was supposed to be Man of Steel 2. It was supposed to be Man of Steel 2.
Oh, no, definitely it was supposed to be Man of Steel 2. There's no doubt about that.
And then Marvel just kept making hits after hits and said, we probably should start merging our content together. And so they changed it. They said, oh, Batman is going to appear in the Superman movie. And then it was... I just remember... You remember. I mean, this was...
I remember the announcement.
The announcements, right? This was, what? 2015? This was right after Man of Steel came out.
Oh, Man of Steel came out 2013.
2013, so it was probably 2014. Yes, because that's right. They delayed it because they were not going to release it at the same time as Civil War.
Right.
No.
Well,
Captain
they
America.
moved it up. They moved it up because of Captain America, but
Captain America, the second one.
No, Civil War.
Was it Civil War? Because
it was supposed to come out against
remember?
Civil War, but then they moved it up to March.
Right, but then that's when they announced the third movie because Civil War came out last year. Remember?
Civil War came out. Was that last year or was that this year?
It was.
No, Civil War was this year.
No, we're talking about 2016.
So, Civil War came out in 2016.
Batman versus Superman was delayed a whole year. If they had released it on time, it would have come out for
2015.
Exactly, and that was Captain America. They were trying to avoid. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. It wasn't Captain America 2. They were trying to avoid Avengers 2. That was the previous year. So they added a whole year of production and they got stuck with Captain America 3. That's what happened.
I think that sounds a little bit better, yeah.
Yes. I added Captain America 2 into it, but yes.
Yeah.
They added
it was something like that, but
it was strange because they said it was Superman 2, Man of Steel 2, which I remember pre-podcast, you and I had the discussion with some other, friendlies, and I had said that the next Man of Steel movie should be Son of Krypton. Yeah. I thought that was just going to be an amazing title name.
Right, exactly.
As opposed to other people, I kind of like Man of Steel. Like everyone knocks it. I really enjoyed Man of Steel, and I said, I just don't want them to lose the momentum. And man, they must have been listening to me somewhere because they said they're going to add Batman. They said it may be a cameo, and then it was Batman versus Superman, and Man of Steel 2 was still going to be in the works. And I said, okay, this is getting weird. And then they started showing, the teasers and the images for Ben Affleck because Ben Affleck was going to be this, everyone thought it was going to be an S show.
Oh my God. Remember when Affleck was cast? Oh my God. People went insane on the internet.
I didn't go insane. I
didn't.
I didn't go insane. I know a lot of people were like holding their breath and said, Ben Affleck sucks. Do you remember Daredevil? And I was like, really? How can you fault one man for a whole movie?
Exactly.
That's you're saying that he's that important? I don't know if he's that important. I'm just saying he might be the face of the movie, but I don't know if he's that important. But in any case, I was willing to give Ben a chance, and I'm glad I did because he carried that movie, not for nothing.
No, he did amazing as Bruce Wayne / Batman, so I thought he did very, very well.
Yeah, but production on that movie was weird, and when we saw it, and
mixed reactions. I liked it.
Could have been better.
The extended version is way better, by the way.
Could have been better. I didn't even like. I'd like to see the extended version. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't think the extended version would have particularly changed my mind about the movie because the movie is good. Missed opportunities, but that's like when I say production, I'm talking about writing, casting, production, editing, and release.
Well, editing is fixed in the extended. I'll say that much.
So like, there's a lot of like what you see in the theatrical version versus what you see in the extended means you had this giant story, but you just didn't know pacing.
Right.
So like there was a lot of weird things that happened, and I don't know. Like I felt like they were mashing all of these stories together, and I didn't think that Superman had to die. I don't think he had to die. I think if they had, I wish we had the podcast at this time because then I would have said what I'm going to say now. I don't think Doomsday should have been in the movie.
I agree with 100%.
I think it should have been Parasite. I think if Parasite had been a villain where he was like soaking up like the intelligence of Batman, the flight of Superman and the strength of Wonder Woman, like I think he would have had a really good movie where these three were able to outsmart Parasite into soaking up too much energy and then he explodes. Like that would have been a way better movie. Like you can only kill Superman once.
Right, and you're not going to be able to do it again.
So anyway, they took a really good story and it's a missed opportunity. It still feels like a missed opportunity to me, you know.
Sure.
The original story, I remember reading the original comic and just thinking like how good it was, but how sad it made me feel that Superman was gone because I didn't really like Superman comics because I thought they were boring, but I thought that issue was good.
Right.
And then, of course, they brought him back several years later, and I'm like, of course, you can't really kill Superman. That doesn't make sense. Like, why would you kill the character that makes the most money? You know, it just
very true.
Doesn't make sense. But, I mean, if you're going to use that in a movie, I don't know, like, it appeared to me as a cash grab. I don't think it turned out to be a cash grab. Like, I think they wanted to be aggressive in their storytelling.
Right.
But I don't know if I felt that connected to Clark Kent to miss him while he was gone. That's all.
Yeah. I don't know. DC made a few mistakes this year. We're going to get to another one later when we talk about August again.
Oh, yes, that's right.
But hopefully they turn things around. They got Jeff Johns in there now, who is going to be their version of Kevin Feige.
Oh, Kevin.
Which hopefully turns out for the better of them. And this year we have Justice League to look forward to, as well as Wonder Woman.
So good.
So let's see. I mean, the Wonder Woman trailer looks really awesome, so I can't wait to see that movie. And then we've seen a little bit of Justice League, which, you know, let's see how they bring Superman back into that.
Looking forward to it. See, that Definitely. I'm looking forward to. Deadpool, whatever. But yeah, The Division also came out in March.
Yes. So let's talk quickly about that game.
I didn't play
it was a very fun game.
Okay.
It was another game that was hyped up to be a lot better than how it turned out. This was shown at E3 the previous year, and it was really cool because it's basically a virus went out in New York City, and you are this agent who gets called in to try and figure out what the virus was and, you know, how to, you know, get rid of it and put the city back to normal. And the cool thing was it was a co-op game, so, you know, it was like you and a group of friends go in there as like a group of agents and, you know, you do missions and stuff like that. What they showed us at the E3 conference was not what we got when the game came out. So
not surprised either.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a Ubisoft game, so
even better.
Yeah, so what we got wasn't exactly, you know, what we were promised. However, it was still fun for a little while. Me personally, my friends and I, when this game came out, we dropped every other game we were playing and strictly played this. And it was a lot of fun. Some of my friends still go back to play it every once in a while. Me, I haven't gone back since we stopped around like maybe April-ish. But you know, the new DLC looks pretty cool for it, and I might dabble in it again. It was just you know, a game that a lot of people were looking forward to, and it kind of dropped the ball a little bit. So I just wanted to sprinkle that in there for March as well.
Okay. So yeah, that's all we have for March. Then April came around. A very exciting time for many people because a wonderful show on a network called HBO. For those who don't know, it's home box office. And hit show Game of Thrones came out. I have a confession to
Season
make.
6, right?
Yes, but I
That
have a
was season
confession.
6.
My confession is I've not watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
You need to get on that.
I know. I just you know what it is. It's I was just told like when we were talking about anime in a previous podcast with 4T, and when somebody says you got to watch a show and it's like, well, there's like 400 episodes. I'm like, I don't know if I'm interested in that. I just found out that there's not many episodes for Game of Thrones for a season.
Yeah, it's very much like Walking Dead in that it only has like maybe 8 or 9 a season.
Walking
I think the last season had like 12.
No, Walking Dead had like 20 episodes. Much
Walking
long.
Dead does not have 20 episodes a season.
This season? Wait. Well, first off, we're gonna get to Walking Dead in a minute, but it's not
Yeah.
20. It's not like 20 episodes.
No, Walking Dead is not 20 episodes.
So it's not like Agents of Shield or any of the other network like television shows.
Walking Dead? No. How do
Really?
you've seen this show? How do you not know?
I see, but you have to remember, I don't really know the amount of episodes that are in a season because I binge watched all of it. This is
Then
the
you
first.
should know. Then you should know even more. Then, because when you're binge watching it, you only see like a few episodes at a time.
Right, but I don't know what seasons are seasons. Like I'm guessing. Like
That's true.
what is Herschel's Baby season 2, season 3? Maybe I think.
I think so.
See, I don't know.
Yeah, like the first season only had 6 episodes. Season 2 had like 12,
Yeah,
13.
Yeah.
Had 13. Yeah.
Okay, so I literally just learned something new because
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yep.
But
Yeah, Game of Thrones is like that. They have about like 10 or 12.
this
seasons.
is perfect because when spring break comes around, or if I have a day off, I'll start like it's. But it's I know now it's a lot more manageable. So
Yeah,
there
definitely.
you go. So and then another terrible news occurred in the month of April.
Yeah.
Prince, musician,
We lost the prince.
we lost the Prince, and that one is a little bit harder.
That one's hard.
Because Prince, he doesn't remind me of Michael Jackson, but he came around the same time, and you're talking about a human
Yeah.
being that possesses so much talent,
Mm-hmm.
in his mind, and how he's able to kind of rip and shred a guitar.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now we could talk about favorite songs. Most people say Purple Rain, but I say I Want to Be Your Lover
That's a good one.
is his first single, and man, that's even today. Like this happened when Michael Jackson passed away years ago. Like I couldn't really listen to it because I listened to Michael Jackson when I was a kid. I just
Yeah.
play it on repeat over and over, and this is the emotions part that comes with music, man. It's just like its own. I don't want this to get difficult as I'm
Yeah.
like as I'm walking through this, but like I just have really nice memories, man. Just growing up. And when
My
somebody-
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, good. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say my memory with Prince is pretty much the entire Batman album.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't. I don't think anybody else could have done what he did.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about his musical talent. You could also talk about just him.
Yeah.
The level of confidence that man possessed was
Oh yeah.
shockingly high.
Bar none. Bar
Shocking.
none.
Like I have confidence, but then there's Prince confidence, which is like in another galaxy, man. It's
Far, far away.
I don't know if he wore stockings. I can't. I'm not doing that. I'm not. That's not what I'd like to do. But
One other thing, whenever I think of Prince, is surprisingly not Prince himself, but Dave Chappelle doing Prince.
absolutely,
Think of that right away.
and there's so many people that have these wonderful stories about Prince.
Yeah.
And he's a hardworking man.
Yes.
If you're talking about the Beatles, what decade do you associate the Beatles with?
What are they, like 50s?
No, actually the 60s.
60s?
They
That's
came
what I meant.
out. They came out in the very late 50s. They were underground, but their first albums came out in the early
60s.
60s. Do you know they only lasted for a decade?
Yeah.
Okay, but in that decade, they released two albums every single year until they
It's a
broke up.
lot.
It's a lot. Prince has been doing that, an album every year since 2015. Do you understand the amount of work that a man has to do? Like I can't fathom that. Like I could maybe make a song. I could remix a lot of songs because I used to DJ, but it, and every single one of his songs are good.
Yeah.
Like it's not people can't do that. Usually somebody does the greatest hits. I don't think Prince has the greatest hits album. He might
They're
now.
all they're all greatest hits.
They're all. I mean, just it's you talking about somebody special. This is somebody who's special.
Definitely.
And his philanthropy work. All of this stuff came out afterward because he didn't want the fame and attention. So he said, just take it. That's the kind of person who he was. So I've heard. I never met the man. But this is
Yeah.
all information that came out. It's tough, man. April was tough, but then May came around, which
And we
was
got
a
some
little
more happy
bit,
things again.
but some sad. I mean, sad and weird, more weird stuff. But
More weird.
Yeah, more weird. Civil War came out. Yes, yes, yes,
You know my stance on Civil War
Yes.
because a certain arachnid was introduced in that movie.
lucky.
Really?
I'm gonna say it. You got lucky, man. I'm happy for you. I am happy for you, Josh.
Yes. So yes, Civil War. Oh my God, I honestly the last few times I have not watched the whole movie again since I've bought it on Blu-ray.
Are you kidding?
But listen, I keep going directly to the airport scene every single time I click on it.
No, you don't do that. That movie is actually good.
No. I love the movie. Don't get me wrong, but every single time I I just want to. I have nothing to
Favorite scene.
watch.
Yeah,
That's my favorite scene. I just go to the airport scene right away.
Oh yeah,
Just right away.
I know. I'm with you on that one.
So my God, it's so good.
It's good. I mean, it feels weird watching a Marvel movie now because you're like, I feel like I should have something critical to say. And we talked about this, like my critical, like if I'm trying to be critical, I always thought how Spider-Man is introduced feels like they did like, oh, we got Spider-Man, awesome, cut, copy, paste.
Right.
Like we're just putting him here, and I felt like if they had him sneaking around the presentation that Tony Stark was doing for the college students for the September Foundation, I felt like it would have been a little bit smoother. And who knows, maybe this year when we see Spider-Man in July, we will, maybe we'll see a little bit of a backstory because in some of the teaser shots, the teaser to the teaser, you see John Favreau's character, Happy, talking to, Peter Parker or Tom Holland's character, and you see him not in his clothes yet because he's receiving the suit that he's going to be wearing in the Civil War final fight.
Right.
So, like, I hope they improve the events in Civil War by revisiting that in Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and that's another movie I'm looking forward to in 2017.
Yes, I know.
Cannot wait for that.
Can't wait. But so there's two games that came out. One game I heard about over the internet, then you told me about it very kindly. And then there was another game that I was anticipating, which very rarely happens.
Yeah.
But
We were both anticipating it.
Or plus, we were both anticipating this. Overwatch came out. I know what Overwatch is. Have I played it? No. Have you played it?
I have played it. I don't own it. My best friend, he has it. I played on his console. Well, his PC rather, because he got the PC version.
Yes.
It's a very, very fun first-person shooter from Blizzard.
Yes.
Blizzard are the guys, of course, responsible for World of Warcraft and all that stuff.
Right.
But it is a very, very fun first-person shooter. It's very wacky.
Yeah.
So like the different characters that are in there and stuff like that. It's just a very, very competitive multiplayer game, and not the friend that I'm talking about, but another friend of mine. He actually plays it competitively.
Right.
So that's really, really cool. So it's just a fun game that a lot of people were looking for. Another game a lot of people were looking forward to. That is doing quite well. So
Even to this
I
day.
don't play it. Even to this day, it's doing very, very well. So I don't play it, but again, my friend, he plays that a lot. But that leads us to a game that a lot of people were also waiting for, and it's become one of the biggest PS4 games, to this day.
So far.
And it is from our friends over at Naughty Dog.
Love you, Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog, guys, you guys are amazing. Uncharted 4 was released. 4. And you know what? We were making this list about, things to put on, things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I completely forgot Uncharted 4 came out this year because it feels like it's been out for so long.
That's true.
But it was this year that it came out, and it's insane.
So, yeah, Uncharted 4 came out, and as soon as I was able to... See, that's the thing. I must have gotten... It had to have been either May or June. I think it was probably June I got my PS4 because somebody bought it with a bundle and they played it for like 2 weeks and they said, "Hey, do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah, I do want it." And I was able to get it for much cheaper than the asking price that you would have gotten at Best Buy or Target or your local GameStop. So
Right.
I got it and I played, man. I played that game to death. That game was awesome, man. I love it. And hopefully this year, because I know, Josh, you really like video games. I love video games too, but probably not as much as you do. But hopefully we can go back and revisit some games and like play some of our favorite scenes and review the story. Because
Sure.
I'm always about the story. So
Definitely.
the Uncharted 4 was big. It was huge. And
It
some of
was.
our favorite scenes that you and I have talked about pre-podcast, we were able to kind of identify some of our favorite scenes. So
Yeah.
so for everyone who's listening out there, stay tuned for more things that are going to be coming down. We're going to be reviewing games soon. So
What?
and other things.
Among other things, yes.
But then it got weird again. Josh.
It got very weird.
It got weird.
You take this one because this is weird.
So there was some news. I don't mean to laugh, guys, but I mean, like, this is when, like, 2016 was like, okay, this is getting too bizarre. Because the news that had been coming out, like, it almost seemed like, what's going to happen this week?
Yeah, kind of.
This was one of those times where I was like, okay, this is almost a straw that broke 2016's back. And everything else was just like, pots and pans just kind of falling from everywhere. There was a silverback gorilla. I can't keep a straight face.
I can't either.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, just if it were an isolated incident, I would have said, "Oh, that's terrible." Like, unfortunate situation. But like,
But just like everything else, the internet.
Yeah. Well,
it's the internet.
Yeah, the internet took off with it, but like, so I'm going to say this was a serious tone. In the month of May 2016, a silverback gorilla was shot and killed in a Chicago zoo because a 3-year-old toddler managed somehow to sneak in to where the gorilla lived inside the zoo. And so, like, there were multiple videos that, because you know what happens, something goes viral, not just one video will come up, but 2 videos will come up. And so the video that I remember seeing, I think it was on Facebook, because, that's how people get their news now.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I saw the video, and all I saw was this silverback gorilla. Now, listen, I've seen a silverback gorilla once. They are massive, okay? You're talking about over 400, sometimes maybe 500 pound.
Yup.
Massive creature standing next to a kid, and I didn't see the gorilla doing anything. And they said, "Oh my God, they shot the gorilla," and I'm like, "What?" Like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand any context. I have I never want to judge before knowing the whole story because that's the responsible thing to do. But then another video came out that I saw. Now this was on like television, where the gorilla grabbed the kid and ran all the way down, and like he's in the water, so he's not like, I don't know. Listen, it's dangerous. I mean, I don't have kids. if I had children, I know as soon as I see my 3-year-old in there, dad mode has to kick in. Like, I'm not going to say, it's going to be okay, honey. It's no. I'm climbing in, and like, that's going to be it. Like, that's what I know what I would do. Because
Right.
that's what I would do if my family members or somebody I care about would go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would try my very best to get my, loved one out of danger. But, there was some serious reactions to this because, zoos aren't natural and, you know, people had said that, the animals shouldn't be in cages, the people should be in cages. And they'd said that legitimately, like, we should be the ones in the cages and the animals should roam free. If you were experiencing animals in their natural, because like, man, I get stir crazy like cabin fever when I'm in where I live for too long. So you get out
Sure.
and you walk around. So like, animals in zoos, they don't have that. So
Right.
there was a lot of strong feelings about that, and then the memes took over, which was once a meme takes over, that's it's a wrap.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's over.
So yeah, that was May, and May was strange, and then June rolled around, and it just kept happening. I can't.
It's all the celebrities.
So more celebrities. One was kind of like harkens back to what we were saying before. Like, okay, we're getting older. We know that there is going to be some people that aren't going to last forever as much as you like them to, and that was Muhammad Ali. Birth name Cassius Clay, but changed his name in the 70s. Civil rights movement with Malcolm X. Civil rights movement around that time is known for taking a stance on issues, being again one of those extremely not overly I don't want to say overly confident in a condescending way, but the man had confidence and the man knew what he was saying, and he had a way of saying things to help you remember.
Right.
You want to copy him and you want to be like him. You want to aspire to that type of greatness. And, you see, have you ever seen some of his matches, Josh?
Yeah. I have.
Very unconventional fighting. Like no
Yeah.
one in boxing does this. His, his footwork and, it, it had to have been something special to see at the time when, he was active. But he got very sick, and it was very hard for him. Like, he could speak, but he had to really work through that. But
Right.
even after becoming sick, he was still sharp,
Yeah.
very very sharp. But he also passed away, and then we weren't done yet.
Nope.
We weren't done.
And this one's kind of sad just because of how young he was.
Exactly.
Mr. Anton, how do you say his last name?
Yelchin. Yeah, that's it.
Yelchin. He was best known for, I guess, recently the Star Trek reboot movies.
Absolutely.
As
Chekhov.
young Chekhov.
Correct.
However, he'd done other movies before. There was another movie I saw him in that I thought was really good. The name is escaping me right now. But yeah, the sad thing was that he was just very very young. So that one kind of sucked. And what was it? He was trying to. What was it? He was trying to get the mail or something. His car went up against him. I know that much.
He was, well, to answer your previous question, he was in Terminator Salvation.
Yes, there you go. That's another one.
That's the one that I remember. But
Yeah, that's the one.
the other one was Green Room. I had to look that one up.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen. I did see Terminator Salvation, and
It is a Terminator Salvation. That was the one I was thinking of.
I just, like, again, people knock the movie for whatever reason. I'm like, I'm not as superly critical of movies.
Yeah.
But
I mean, his part was fine. So
his part
I
was
liked
great.
him.
I mean, but like, he's an not aspiring. I can't say he's an aspiring actor because he's performed in blockbuster films. So, but
Yeah, exactly.
you could see he was on the rise. He made a name for
Yeah,
himself.
he was doing very well.
Yeah, and what happened was he put the car on park, but I don't think he secured it. So
Right, and then
he went to
off.
the mail, and it rolled down his sloping garage, and it pinned him. It sucks.
Yeah.
Man. It's not how you
Really
want
sucks.
it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was sad.
So that was that. But then, what else happened in June?
Well, there was another game we can talk about very, very briefly. The name is kind of reminiscent of the year so far.
Jesus.
The name of the game was called Doom.
Oh, yes, that's right. I didn't play that either.
Yeah, it was a reboot of the original game that came out in the early 90s, the first-person shooter. Very well done. A very, very surprisingly well done game. I didn't think it was going to be that good because the last game that came out before it was Doom 3, and Doom 3 was horrible.
Right.
But this game surprised me. This game was very, very fun, and it had something that a lot of first-person shooters don't really have today. It was very fast. And fast in the fact that, like, it wasn't a game that you can beat, in, like, 20 minutes or anything, but, like, the movement of your character, like, you can zip around, like, areas. And that's how, first-person shooters used to be back in the 90s. So, you play these other games, which are normal pace and stuff like that, and then you go back and you play this Doom game, and you're just like, holy crap, I'm moving super fast.
Right.
That was a lot of fun. And, of course, it's Doom, so there was, like, demons and stuff. It was just a very, very, very fun escaping game to play, and it was really, really cool.
Maybe I'll play that 2 years from now, but
maybe
we're
it's a
gonna
fun game.
we're gonna
But,
take that we're gonna take that break.
Yeah, that's months run through 6.
Yeah, and
So
then
we'll tackle the next 6 in a little bit.
After the break, we're gonna play something familiar. Josh, do you know what you're gonna play?
I got something on my sleeve.
Okay, is it something new or is it something familiar?
It's familiar.
Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, we'll be back after these break, guys.
All right, cool.
Welcome back to the FGC podcast. We are the hosts here, Jason, Josh.
Ahoy.
Are we doing learning time?
Learning time on how weird this past year was?
You're right. Bad idea. Well,
You're serious?
I was thinking about the concept of the new year.
Since the beginning of time. Oh, I see what you did there.
Well, no, that's not what I meant at all. I mean, like, the ball dropping in New Year's Eve in Times Square. That started in 1907.
In New York?
Yes.
Why is it a ball on a pole?
So Google is an amazing thing, and I did read this before. According to the New Yorker, I think it was that New Yorker. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll find it and I'll post it. But it states time balls originated in the early 1800s before there were time zones, which is really interesting because in the 1800s, people kept their own time everywhere. And it was hard for people to travel across the country and internationally and have a concept of time. So most American cities kept their own times based on the sun. Knowing the exact time at sea was a little bit different, but it was still very important because they had to... How did they do it? I think they had to calculate their longitudes. Actually, I think I have it here. Hold on, let me read this. Yeah, they had to calculate their longitude. So to determine the time, seafarers relied on marine chronometers, I think is the word, which is an apparatus that resembled an oversized pocket watch, carefully gimbaled in a wooden box to keep it level as rough seas rose and fell.
Yar, mateys.
Yeah, right? But then it goes on to say that the timing wasn't always accurate, and that was a huge problem.
Yeah, because crashing ships and so on.
Right. So, there was a guy by the name of Robert Wauchope of the Royal Navy.
Navy?
Yes.
Captain.
Yes. Yes, Captain Robert Wauchope he has this crazy idea, right? He says he wants to use a visual signal from a coastal naval observatory coordinated by telegraph that captain could see from their decks. So the first quote unquote ball drop takes place in the early 1829, 1830 or something like that. I'm not really sure about the details.
Should we be playing the music, by the way? Because this is kind of learning time worthy.
It is, but it's too late, so we're just going to keep going with this.
Alrighty.
We're committing. Wauchope's design used two balls. I know. I laughed when I first read this too. Two balls, both 5 feet in diameter, set on a flagpole. This has a lot of innuendos in this. They're talking about balls and flagpoles and
the jokes write themselves, people.
I know. So 2 balls, 5 feet in diameter, set on a flagpole at the water's edge in England. One was fixed at the top, and the second was weighted and mobile. So minutes before noon, the second ball was raised up the flagpole until it met the stationary ball, so the no light passes between them. A flag was flown nearby to warn observers of the imminent drop, which Wauchope estimated took a little less than half a second. The moment Captain saw light between the balls, they checked their chronometers and against the official time, and that's basically how all of this worked.
All I know is I'll never be a seaman.
Me neither. But that's crazy. I mean, they had to figure all this out, how to live their life on the sea without advanced technology.
Satellites. Once the first satellites went up, it's a wrap.
It's true.
Okay, so Captain Rob over here invents the ball drop.
Right.
And then what?
Well, I don't know. I have no idea. So, like, that invention, or rather the discovery of managing time, was a big thing around the world. So, yeah.
What year was this?
This was around the 1800s.
And planes were what, 1900s?
Yeah.
So this was all the rage.
Absolutely. But I also read that it was... So for them to use this, for like the New Year's Eve in Times Square, it was much more charming than practical because people liked seeing balls drop. This is so bad.
This is really bad.
Dude, I'm serious. I remember reading this and I was able to find it, and I have it here. I'm reading it. It's just like people, like I'm reading. Like you have to read it and understand the time. And I'm like, yeah, we like this ball dropping.
Oh my!
So
goodness.
like that's that was a thing, like a tradition that people had used. So that's what they wanted to use. They started that as a tradition in 1907. So this was a thing that just kept going, But it wasn't practical at all because there was a crap ton of errors that just kept happening.
So this was a thing that people merely wanted to adapt in a bustling city like New York.
Yes, but again, lack of technology. So then when they adapted it, the first times that they started doing it, they didn't have like the heavy machinery, and they didn't have computers like the stuff we have now. So just imagine it's about 5 or 6 guys with a ball attached to a rope, and they're lowering it, and there's a guy next to them with a stopwatch, and he's counting down basically.
People do the strangest things.
Yeah. Would you say Stranger Things?
That's another pun. But seriously, 2016 has been strange so far.
Yeah. Like Doctor Strange?
Stop it.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's our makeshift learning time. Let's resume, shall we?
Yes, let's resume with your little pun.
Okay. I mean, it was
July.
appropriate. It was appropriate. You gotta admit.
Fine, it was appropriate.
Thank you. Okay, so
yeah.
July.
So in July.
Out. Yes. Go ahead.
Yep. No, well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, I really enjoyed the show.
We all did.
Okay, good. So you watched it?
Oh, of course I watched.
Oh, thank goodness. Because when we talked in like August, when we were planning things, you didn't watch it. And I'm like, where have you been? Anyway, Netflix came out with a show out of nowhere, like RKO, WWE status. Stranger Things came out, and it was an amazing show. Like, I'm shocked how good that show was.
It was very good. It was so good. This is how I watched it, okay? So my friends had started watching the show without me, and they watched the first 3 episodes, okay? Then they watched it like the night before they saw me. So then next day comes around, we were all, we had a day off, and they go, hey, have you watched Stranger Things yet? And I'm going, no, I heard it was really good. I haven't, seen it yet, though. And they're like, we watched the first 3 episodes last night. It was amazing. Do you want to watch it again? Because, we'll watch it with you. I'm like, all right, sure. We watched the first 3 episodes. And then, of course, they were caught up. And now I was caught up to the point where they were. We finished watching the rest of the series that day.
Yep, that was me too.
So we binge watched the rest of the episodes. And it was a very fun ride. It was so good. The actors in it, the kids were tremendous. Usually kid actors aren't that great, but these kids, they did a really good job.
Oh, good.
Winona Ryder was awesome.
Everyone.
It was such a good show. And I am super excited for season 2 and see what they come up with. And that soundtrack's amazing.
Soundtrack I was waiting for from the start. That theme song, when I hear it, ooh, man, chills.
Yeah.
And it just brings me, and again, see, we keep talking about music, but this is what I'm talking about. The theme song really takes me back to that time when they were producing music back in the 80s. And this is that time where, that show takes place, and they did such a good job.
And that was one of the first things I said when I started watching it with my friends. I was like, this has like an E.T. Goonies feel to it.
Oh, no.
And
it's much more than that. It's
perfect.
Yeah, see, when you say E.T. and Goonies, you're thinking about like movies set in time. I'm remembering like living at that time, like being a kid in that time. And just
I don't have that. So that's why I latch on to
I can
movies.
tell you with certainty that this is authentic. Like, there's somebody I talked to, Bob Kiefer. You remember Bob Kiefer?
Oh, Mr. Bob Kiefer that we had on the show, Bob Kiefer?
Bob Kiefer, that's the guy. He said that, he was, he remembers being in that time. And he was just like, there were lots of things that they were doing and how they were behaving that was very authentic to that time. So he was all about it, that show. He loves it. I love it. And I'm glad that people, who were born after 2000 can watch and they say that they love it. It's rare that you get a show that good. I'll say that. For sure.
So looking very much forward to season 2 when it comes out this year.
Absolutely. Now there was some more interesting things amongst some weirder things. Pokemon Go was released also in July.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was that was weird. It was weird when it was released because the timing of when that was released also came out with current events. That was tough for many reasons. We'll get into them in a second, but
yeah.
Pokemon Go came out. It was released. I remember downloading it and trying it, and it was difficult the first day to number one download it, and number two to activate it. And
because
then
everybody and their mother downloaded this.
Everybody in the world. And then, so I didn't play it as much as everybody else. I maybe played it for a grand total of maybe 2 days, like calculating up all the hours, maybe. Because I played it here and there, but I just remember sitting in my car and using it and like, okay, the camera's on. I want to get rid of the camera. And then I remember seeing the guy, and I'm like trying to move him, and I'm moving the camera around. And somebody had said, oh, there's, I don't know, whatever the first Pokemon I caught, like I don't know, just name a Pokemon.
Pidgey.
Pidgey, yes. Actually, I think it was a Pidgey. Good one. There was a Pidgey down by the bowling alley, and I was like, oh, okay. So I remember opening up my door and walking, and I was like, wait a minute. You're telling me the entire game is me walking around trying to find Pokemon? Oh, and that's when I said, no, I'm not doing this.
It's funny. You said, no, I'm not doing this. Me and my friends were like, hey, let's go take a walk outside because there's a Bulbasaur over there.
Yep.
We would literally walk. If there was a Pokemon that we had not had yet, and it was outside the house, we had our shoes off. We were laying on the couch, just chilling. We would go, There's a Dratini outside. We all ran out to try
Mhm.
to go get it.
Oh yeah.
And we did this for at least a month straight.
Nope. I did play it. Maybe it was maybe a little bit longer for 2 days because I did
Yeah.
catch a few, and all I just remember saying was um, all I wanted to get was Pikachu. I just want a
Yep.
Pikachu. Just find me
I
Pikachu. And
only found one, that asshole.
I got up to 5, and then I started going into the gyms, and I was like, okay, this is getting complicated. I'm not interested in this anymore. But I still hadn't found Pikachu yet. But before I got to level 5, and I remember this because I was like trying to go up and train, but I couldn't train because the gyms where I was didn't have it. And every single time I found Pikachu, because I found him like 4 times, 3 times that I found him, I kept throwing these Pokeballs, but he kept popping out. I'm like, I don't like this. This is getting me annoyed. Like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
So then I finally found him. I'm like, okay, I got him. I'm good. That's it.
Yeah. That was some of the frustrating parts. I think that's why a lot of people stopped playing.
But that craze lasted all the way until fall, man.
It's still going on. There's still tons of people that play that game. I don't open it up on my phone as much, but I'm not gonna lie. Every once in a while, if I'm at a place where I've never been before,
Yeah.
I'll just be like, you know what? Let me open the app, see what's here. All right, cool. All right, done.
I just
But
didn't like.
I'm not like when we first got it.
No, but I remember also one of the reasons why I stopped playing it was because I always like to create my own account if possible. But there it was just like sign into your Google account. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
But I did it, and then something happened where they were like, what was it, Niantic? Niantic can see all of your information. I was like, oh, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
And then, like, the day after that article came out, they re-changed their APIs, and you could only see, like, the basic information. I was like, yeah, okay, because I wasn't going to play the game again. But, yeah,
Yeah.
that was that. That was Pokemon Go.
Yep.
Then Comic-Con happened.
Yes. Comic-Con was huge.
Comic-Con was huge. I don't know why I'm not remembering anything big that happened during Comic-Con. It was eventful, but not. So there was a lot of things that they presented things that I would like to have seen, but we couldn't see yet.
Well,
Like,
that's where we got the first Justice League trailer.
that's true.
We got the Wonder Woman trailer.
That's right. Okay.
We got one or two other things from there.
But they also showed like clips of Spider-Man, but we weren't allowed to see that.
We were not allowed to see them, but we finally saw it. This month.
Yes. We were also not allowed to see the Guardians of the Galaxy, which we now know what that looks like, and that's awesome and amazing.
Yes.
But really, I don't know if there were a lot of announcements.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was the Justice League trailer. Honestly,
I would say so, and they needed the exposure.
Definitely.
And then, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, and then sticking with some DC stuff, there was a very, very old lady named Noelle Neal. Most people will know her as Lois Lane from the original Adventures of Superman, the 1950 serial. With George Reeves as Superman.
That's right.
So my brother is a big, big Superman fan. So, he was sad when that happened. Of course. He had met her. I think at one of the cons. I forgot which one. Has a photo with her and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was kind of sad for superhero fans.
Of course.
And people who played Lois Lane and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little sad.
It was.
But probably not as sad as you want to take this one.
So, yeah, I always had difficulty talking about this because this was around the same time that Pokemon Go came out, and I remember that specifically because I'm like, you either were talking about Pokemon Go or this tragedy that happened, and then I brought this up because number one, I don't think it's good when anybody dies.
Sure.
People die of natural causes, people die of illness, but when somebody is shot, that's has implications, and I'm never a person for violence. I'm always been I always believe that there's always going to be a better way to approach things, but this was difficult on many different levels, and I've had a lot of time to to really think back and think about this, but there were 2 police shootings that happened. One by the name of Alton Sterling, and the other one was by the name of Philando Castile. And what was difficult about one of these, I always forget. I'm sorry, I'm like drawing a blank, but like a part of me doesn't want to really get too much into the details because
Sure.
we've seen the details already. Um, One was posted on Facebook live as it happened, so it was the first time that you had seen somebody perspire on technology. What really bothered me about that one, because that one really hit, like, you could, you, you knew, like, growing up, and I know, Josh, that you can agree to this, like, you knew that there was a place that you could go to. If you wished, you could see, like, things that that most people weren't interested in seeing. Like, you could
Yeah.
see people, like, cutting each other, like real people, not in a movie,
Yeah.
not entertainment. Like, you could see people doing really effed up stuff to one another, but you
Yeah.
knew that you were making the journey to go there. And
Yeah.
so, there was a problem with this particular person because this person was shot by police officers, and people could argue about the details, but I'm like, I know there is other ways to subdue people, to take down people. I'm not a police officer, so I can't assume anything, but I had a huge problem with the fact that I was seeing this amount of violence on my personal device. I was
Right.
like, this is I can't, like, it's almost like I didn't agree for that. Like, I didn't agree to see that. Um, but that was something that was an interesting place that we're in now, because this is, I mean, we talk about technology all the time, and we always talk about the good technology can do, but this is definitely the flip side of that coin. Um, that can certainly affect you. I had problems sleeping after that. Honestly,
Yeah.
that was not an easy thing to experience. And
Never is.
it never is. And like, you'll talk to people, and some people are sympathetic, and then there's always going to be another side that says either it was justified or deserved, or you don't hear the whole story. But I'm like, I am simply mourning the loss of life.
Right.
And I think we have to do better to we have to encourage one another. And I know there's a way to do it, but we just get wrapped up in ourselves, and that doesn't help. It doesn't. I know we can be better. I know we can be greater. That's all I will say about that. Without making this it's kind of difficult for me to get through, and I know we try to be lighthearted here, but I looking back on it now, I know we can do better. It's difficult to recount and think about, but I know we can do better. That was completely unscripted and off the cuff, but I'm hoping that we can see room for improvement.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say about that. And then what else? There was something else that happened in July. SpaceX happened.
Yes. SpaceX did happen.
SpaceX happened. They were able to launch a rocket into, and there's a funny picture because it kind of looks like one of the movies that we love to see, Avengers or Turtles, where a big giant beam kind of shoots up, into the clouds. It's funny. I'll post it on the link, when this posts. But
Looks like the Chitari or somebody is going to come after us.
yeah, it's a nice picture, and I
Yeah, it
found
is a
it.
pretty cool picture. I'm not gonna lie. It looks really awesome.
Yeah. So it was a rough summer, needless to say, and then August came around, and it didn't stop there.
Did not stop.
So do you want to talk about the bad news, or do you want to talk about the good news? Because I don't like either. I mean, the good news could also be revered as "quote unquote" bad news, but
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, is it technically all bad news?
I don't know. We'll start with the "quote unquote" gray news. Suicide Squad came out. It starred Will Smith. It starred Jared Leto. It also starred
Margot Robbie.
That's it. I don't know why I was having a blank.
Yeah.
And
By the way, side note, did you know that Margot Robbie is like the same age as me?
really,
Yeah, I
it's
just found that out.
weird when that happens, doesn't it?
It's very weird, but I like it.
It's only going to get worse because in a couple of years they're going to be younger.
Yeah.
But in any case, people lukewarm reception.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was good, man. I liked it, but also I say this all the time that we talk about Suicide Squad. I had no expectations for this movie. People were expecting like you can't go in with Marvel expectations. Marvel has been doing this for nearly a decade now. 2017 is going to be a no. Is it going to be a decade? It is going to be a decade. They're going to be doing this for 10 years this year.
Yeah, definitely.
So they have a formula and it works for them. DC, they're trying to capture that formula, but it doesn't vibe with them. And, it's serious, but they got jokes. And they have like a bunch of content, just like Batman versus Superman left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Everyone was really excited to see Jared Leto, or Leto, whatever it's,
I say Leto.
Leto, right. Play the Joker. And I was, the trailer always does a good job at, telling me what the movie's going to be. But, the music always helps, man. That Queen soundtrack is great every single time. But he wasn't in the movie a lot. It
was not.
He's not in the movie a lot, but
no,
that didn't take away from the movie for me.
Yeah, I still thought it was okay, but I'm gonna say about that is that DC really needs to step it up with Wonder Woman and Justice League this year, because if not, they're just gonna be left behind.
I think Wonder Woman is gonna be as good as it can be. How about that?
I honestly think Wonder Woman is gonna be very, very good.
You think it's gonna be excellent, like A+, or you think it's gonna be great?
If I had to put like a number on it, I think it's going to be like an 8 or 9 out of 10 movie.
I think it's going to be 7 or 8.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 7 or 8. I think it's going to be good. I think I'm going to enjoy it, but I don't think I'm going to like love it. Because, so moving back just a little bit, only a little bit, because I don't want to take too much time. Ghostbusters also came out last year. Did you like it? I guess that's a no. You didn't like it.
I actually haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No. My nephews love it, though.
Okay, so I was a little apprehensive about it because I grew up watching the original Ghostbusters. And so the trailer came out, not last year, or maybe the final trailer came out last year, but the teasers...
Final trailer was last year, yeah.
Yeah. And people were complaining because it's like an all-girl cast, and I'm like, I think you can't really judge something if you haven't seen it. And you know me, I say this all the time.
Right.
So I didn't see it in theaters, and I saw it for Christmas, while I was on my holiday break. And can I tell you, this movie is awesome. Movie is, it's great. People were complaining about the most ridiculous things, like, oh man, are you kidding me? Like, I've heard things like an all-woman cast who are scientists, and I'm like, I don't know. I found it believable, so I have no complaints about that. And then people were complaining about Chris Hemsworth's character and how he's just eye candy. And I'm like, if the tables were reversed, I don't really know if, like people have been complaining about that for years.
It'd be the same thing. It'd be the guys there, and then the chick, whoever they cast would be for eye candy.
Exactly. So, like, that didn't really bother me, but they were dead wrong. Personally. I'm not going to say anything, but he is awesome in that movie. The four, main characters in that movie, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones.
I mean, I like them all individually, so I feel like I would like the movie. I just haven't watched it
it's
yet.
Good. It's really, really good. And I thought what they were going to do was, like, take those characters that were in the original movie and just, make new, basically have the same characters but in a new movie. They're not. They're totally new original characters. They are. And I'm like, what? This is awesome. And then you have to stay for after the credits because there is an after credit scene.
Of course there is.
And then once that scene plays, all I said was, I want more. I want more like yesterday.
Yeah.
It was good. It was really good.
That's good. I need to see it.
So then the bad news, because there's bad news every month. Kenny Baker, who is responsible for what was Kenny Baker doing in R2D2? Really, I mean, so Kenny Baker, ladies and gentlemen, is an actor who played in the lovable robot, or the lovable trash can, known as R2D2, and R2D2 didn't really have words, but he had a mouth on him. I know it. I know it for a fact.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But what was R2D2 doing? Really? What was he doing?
He was walking. He was stumbling.
He's walking and he has wheels.
He wobbles.
He did wiggle. He did. I mean, that's crazy.
And he screams a lot.
But that's all the sound effects from Ben Burt.
Yes.
Don't ask me why I know his name. But
yeah, that's fine.
Ben Burt, yeah. Okay. But yeah, he passed away, which was sad.
Very sad.
It's very sad. But at the same time, it's like I knew that this eventually was going to happen. I had this conversation with a lot of people, and I kind of knew to expect this. Like, you get older, and the people who you idolize, who were like in their 30s and 40s, they're getting up there in age.
Definitely.
They're gonna pass away eventually. So I know I talked to my mom and my dad, and they're like, yeah, but that's what happens.
It happens. Yeah, it's
like,
life.
It happens. You get older, and so I was happy that Force Awakens came out because this was clearly saying goodbye to the older cast.
For sure.
They weren't in it very much, so this is clearly the reason why. But then another big one, passed away in August, amongst other things that were happening, which we're going to be mentioning very soon. Gene Wilder, who is responsible for, what would you say he's known for? Because I know him.
I know him as Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka, right? I feel like everybody knows him as Willy Wonka.
I mean, when I was young, I didn't watch too many Gene Wilder movies. The only movie I knew him for was Willy Wonka growing up.
Blazing Saddles was another one.
Yeah, again, when I was a kid, never watched it. I mean, if I were to go back and watch them now, I'm sure I would enjoy them. But yeah, when I was a kid, just strictly Willy Wonka for me.
Willy Wonka, yeah, he was a strange little man.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a certain amount of charm that he had about him, that not a lot of people can replicate.
No,
which I can appreciate. I feel there's a reason why people are special. They're celebrities because they don't do what other people do.
Right, they have that extra speciality about them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether it be their talent or whatever it is, their charisma.
Yes, and he is also responsible for doing The Producers, which was remade into a Broadway show with Nathan Lane.
That's right.
And who is the other guy? Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick.
Yes, there you go, Matthew Broderick.
And Will Ferrell, but he was in the original in 1967.
So it's like The Lion King reunited for that Broadway play.
Oh man, I love The Lion King, which they're also remaking, but I digress. Blazing Saddles, Willy Wonka, The Producers, and Young Frankenstein.
Oh, that's right, Young Frankenstein. He was known for that.
Yes. Which is a strange movie for me because that came out in the 70s?
I think so.
And when I see Frankenstein, I'm thinking of, because we talked about this in October. October was, stuff and stuff and stuff.
Right.
And, I see Young Frankenstein and I'm like, I don't know how that fits, but I'm just going to let it go. But then we had September, which was great because kids went back to school and things. And, we also had the Apple conference, which was fun. And you also had the Sony conference, which was fun.
If you want our full thoughts on that, you can listen to episode 2 of our podcast.
Yes, but also, September was a special month because that's when we started the podcast.
That's true. We did start then.
Yes.
So, September, birth of FGC podcast.
That's right. Jason Josh coming right at you. So,
there you go.
Sony Conference was responsible for the PS4 Pro, which is out now.
Yes.
Which I'm so glad I didn't buy that.
I'm glad too. I mean, I'm content with my PS4. I love my PS4, so.
As am I.
So I don't think I need to upgrade. But for the people who did not have a PS4 and that's their first version of it, good on you.
You'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the Apple conference, which was responsible for Apple Watch Series 2, which is waterproof now.
Yes, I do like that little feature where it spits out the water. That's kind of cool.
Yes, that's cool. But apparently, I just found this out recently. Apparently, the waterproofing does wear out over time.
Ooh, I mean, I would imagine because what's in there? Like you gotta have like some type of adhesive or something, right? So I would imagine if multiple times with water with that thing, it'll wear it out. I mean, that only makes sense, right?
That's true. That's
To
true.
me, it does
I
at
never.
least.
Oh, absolutely. And I've never seen the water spit out, but I would love to.
I've seen videos of it. It looks pretty cool.
Oh, okay. And the iPhone 7, which I now own.
Yes, we both own. And you know what? This is actually a perfect time because I don't think I actually said this on the podcast yet. So I did not go with the jet black, everyone. Did not go
Which
with.
one did you get?
I just got
Which
the
one did you
regular
get?
black.
I knew it. I knew it. You son
Just
of a
got the
bee. I
regular
knew it.
black.
I knew
There are
it.
two reasons. Reason one, just like everybody else that day that phone came out, I went to my local store just to see if they had any. They had none, obviously.
Obviously.
But they had some on display, so I went to go see them, and I was like, all right, the black one looks pretty cool. This is the one that I'm leaning towards, but I really wanted that jet black, like I said. What time did I get there? I got there like around 10 a.m. maybe. So the store had already been opened, and the guys, they've been selling phones to like other people or whatever. And I'm just walking in and I'm looking at the phone. They had a jet black phone on display, and I looked at the back of it. You would think that this phone had been out on the floor for days, if not weeks already, with the amount of fingerprints and the amount of like little scratches it already had. And I was like, yeah, not doing the jet black. So I went with the matte black.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I told you from the get go. I said those fingerprints, man. I can see those fingerprints happening.
Yeah. And we did, and like I said, we did discuss this on that episode where it specifically says on the website that it can do that. So.
Yes.
So, but I have other friends though that it looks perfectly pristine still, and they've had it since day one. So it's good on them.
All right then. So then we moved to October, where we had Walking Dead and Westworld.
Which I still have
Yeah.
not seen.
What the hell is wrong with you, man?
I had the entire holiday break to watch it. Did not have time.
And you messed up.
I messed up big time. I'm sorry.
You messed up. Well, it's still on HBO.
Yeah, which
You're slipping.
I can watch it. I can watch it.
Okay. And then November
January
came
so far
around.
seems to be the slow month, so I might watch it.
Okay. Well, November came around. We had Doc Strange,
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter, but Ron Glass passed away. We also had a supermoon, which was kind of freaky to look at because it was so large.
It was a very big moon.
We also had Fidel Castro, who passed away, with a long line of people who pretty much everybody knows in the world passed away.
Yeah.
We also had Leonard Cohen, who passed away, was a musician who's responsible for a lot of hits. I think Hallelujah was his biggest hit.
Might have been.
Also a songwriter as well. An election night, 2016, which has been a culmination of over a year of like the strangest, most ridiculous things ever. And like people will talk about like, and I'm really not here to talk about like political views and things like that, but this election was weird.
It was a different type of election from the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah. And, we saw it unfold, and it quickly kind of moved into a place where you really had to make a decision. And if you abstained from making a decision, you were chastised for it.
Yeah.
And people felt very, very strongly, and people were very much intertwined with their belief systems, and they put their candidates into, and I'm not even talking about like at the end of it all. I'm talking about even before.
Yeah,
like,
even before the decision was made.
even like in 2015, when 2015 was ending, like people were. It was strange. The whole thing was strange. I mean, I've been so Let's see. I was born in the early 80s, mid 80s. So I'm conscious of a few elections. I was conscious for Bill Clinton. I was conscious for, George Bush. I was conscious for Obama. And I mean, all that stuff that we saw before was completely different. I mean, and the results still stand.
Sure.
It's a little, it's bizarre. I don't care what anybody says. Like I said, I'm not saying I was for or against. It was just weird. It was all around weird.
Definitely.
Honestly, I am hoping for the best. Honestly, and that's all I can really say about that. Uh, because I know a lot of people had some concerns, whether they were for or against, current president elect. Some people were just concerned in general, for how things are presented, and things that things. We talk about this for the podcast. When we sit down and we talk about like, oh, what's going to be our next topic?
Right.
How long do we talk for? I mean, we talk for at least 30 minutes.
Roughly.
Roughly. But if we're talking about like a big topic, when we were talking about, Doctor Strange, we had that planned months in advance.
Roughly.
So, the presentation and what was seen for the election that happened, last year was, it seemed very like out there, like no rehearsal, just in your face. This is what it is. You don't like it. Suck bomb.
Yeah.
Like it was just very messy. It was just a messy show. And if you were sleeping under a rock and you're waking up and this is the first show that you hear, all you need to do is just turn on the television or go on the internet and just watch SNL. Because that's, I think, a perfect representation. Although, who knows? Somebody will watch that and say, no, SNL was not a perfect representation. So, like, this is how polarized we are, Like, everyone's going to have these crazy, like, weirdly strong opinions about these things.
Definitely.
But nevertheless, here we are. And then we got to December because it wasn't done. We only had 1 month left.
1 month.
And we still had some heavy hitters. You know what I also forgot? October, the Cubs won.
That's right. The Cubs did win.
Cubs win World Series. That was crazy because I was hoping for it. I really was, I can't say that I'm a Cubby fan. I can't even say I'm a baseball fan. I watch baseball, every once in a while.
Sure. But you knew how important it was for the Cubs to win and stuff like that.
Of course. I was rooting for the Cubs last year.
Yeah.
Goddamn Mets. But I'm not going to say anything about that because reasons. Anyways, so the Cubs win the World Series. Then November happens. And then December happens. Star Wars comes out, which was the first Star Wars that is a side story.
Yeah.
Which was met with a little bit of anxiety, maybe? I think the word is to say.
I mean, Disney doesn't have any anxiety about it. They just made their bunch of money from that movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying going into December, like there was some anxiety. You have to admit there was some anxiety.
No, there was because there was a lot writing on this. I mean, if this did not work, then the rest of their anthology movies may not have worked out as well either. So the fact that
for a second.
Well, I mean, come on, wouldn't you be more nervous to produce more anthology films if the first anthology film didn't work out so well?
Yeah, but then the second one could bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
Every film could bomb.
It could, but at least they have more confidence in now that they're like, okay, we can actually tell stories that are not from the Skywalker clan.
I'm just saying, you could be Fox and you could have Fantastic Four.
Oh, no. Not again.
See? I said Fantastic Four, though, so that's the difference.
You said Fox.
I said Fox. I mean, look, they've had how many movies? They had one movie in 1994.
That one doesn't really count, though, does it?
It does, though. It really does. It does.
We don't speak of that one. That one.
But
wait,
yeah,
I wonder which one's worse, that one or Fen Forstick.
Oh God. I mean, at least the 1994 version had some comedic value.
Did it though?
Because I mean, the Human Torch flew up like a rocket.
That's true.
That was
true.
Good. I mean, I think that's funny.
Ugh.
I think it's funny. And then 2004, a decade later, lo and behold, here he comes.
I actually enjoyed those two movies.
Oh, absolutely. Chris Evans,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Michael Chiklis, Jessica Alba, and that other guy.
I can never say his name correctly. Ever.
Ian Chode
That is
something?
not how you say his name.
It's an SH something.
It's Ian with a G. His last name.
What?
His last name begins. It's not even Ian. I think it's Johan.
Ah, Johan. Grufford.
Johan Grufford.
Grufford. We're still going to say it our way. So, yes, I like that one because Chris Evans, God bless his heart.
I know. And Human Torch is always my favorite of the four.
Of course, because he's the person that you want to be.
Exactly. So I
You don't want to be... I mean, do you want to be the girl? I don't want to be the girl.
I don't want to be the girl, although I wouldn't mind her power. Going invisible would be kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool. Michael Chiklis, the Thing. I don't want to be the Thing, man. That's
I would have his strength. That's about it.
But that's listen. The strength is overrated, man. Like if
he's
you
not
wear
that
strength,
strong.
Then you're gonna be.
Yeah.
He's not, but like he's gonna be durable.
Yeah,
but what
sure.
I want to know is that when you get punched in the face, do rock bits come out and does that grow back?
You just
I've always wondered
blew
that
my mind right now. I never thought of that.
Yeah, he's like rock, but like pieces gotta be falling out of you, man.
Does he
like,
chip?
Of course he chips. So it's gonna be organic rock.
But that's like his skin, though, right? So it would act like skin. Like, let's say I get a cut.
I don't know.
My skin opens up, but then, of course, while I heal, it closes back up.
I don't know. See, but these are things little Jace has wondered since childhood.
I'm wondering right now, because I've never thought of that.
I just brought you back. Everyone thinks about, the thing's thing.
I don't think about his thing.
Well, I mean, that's what people go to because people are just nasty and gross.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like, I have legitimate questions about his chemical composition, and I'm pretty sure if I go to Barnes and Nobles, I'll be able to find it. But what I want, but that's a legitimate question, man. His kneecap, it gets blown out. Like, what's going to happen? That's what I want to know.
No idea.
All right, so moving along.
We had
He has sex.
Yeah.
He has sex.
PlayStation Experience.
Oh yes, and we also had the release of the Nintendo Classic.
Oh, the Nintendo Classic. That thing is awesome.
You have it?
I don't have it. My friend does.
Oh damn it! I want it. Anyway, Alan Thicke passed away. Who's the father of Robin Thicke, who has a very smooth, sultry voice. And
show me that smile again.
Oh yeah. All the sitcom actors.
Dude, I used to watch Growing Pains like crazy.
Yeah. And then it's terrible. Carrie Fisher passed away.
Yes, Miss Carrie Fisher.
She had a heart attack on the plane. Then they said that she was fine. And then, nope, she's not fine.
Yeah, they were just like, about that time she was fine? No, sorry.
She's not. So that was very upsetting.
What was upset? What was, I guess, kind of, what would you call it? Bittersweet. So the morning she died, I woke up, and I got the notification on my phone. I was like, oh, that's, that's sad. That sucks. Whatever. My brother-in-law, a little bit after I got the notification, he's a huge Star Wars fan, texted me. Right. He's like, hey, I haven't seen Rogue One yet. Do you want to go watch it again? And then in the back of my head, I was like, oh, crap, he hasn't seen Rogue One yet. And then immediately I thought of the end scene. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go watch Rogue One. So we went. It was me, my brother-in-law, and then my sister, because we got a babysitter. That way they can go watch the movie. And of course they knew the news, obviously, because he's a huge Star Wars fan. He knew. And then...
Did he know?
He knew. Well, he knew that Carrie Fisher passed away.
Oh,
he didn't know the end. So we watched the movie, and then I know it's coming up, so I kind of got up a little bit, like I stood up from my chair. Well, I didn't stand up, but I stood up, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm just watching him watch this scene. He kind of broke down a little bit, and I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, I was like, yeah, I wanted to watch this movie to watch that scene again because of what happened this morning.
I know.
And before, it was weird because, I saw it the day it came out when she was still alive. And you watch that scene, you're just like, oh, that's really awesome that, they did that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then, she passed away, and then you watch that scene again, and you're just like, oh, crap. It's a very weird how in a span of a week or two that I watch that scene and feel two completely different things because of what happened.
I know.
It was very weird.
2016 was full of that.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days after that, Debbie Reynolds, who's the mother of Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
Who also is one of the leads in a wonderful musical, probably one of my favorite musicals of all time, Singing in the Rain.
Yes, I will always remember her, though, as Miss Aggie Cromwell from Halloween Town.
Oh, yes.
So, Halloween Town is one of my favorite Disney Channel movies, so I will definitely remember that.
It's rough. It's very rough. It's so, and then we weren't done yet. We weren't done.
No, we were not.
Because after that, then George Michael passed away.
Yeah.
Who sang Careless Whispers.
And Last Christmas.
Part of Wham. And Last Christmas. Careless Whispers.
Yeah.
Who was the last song that played in Deadpool?
Yes.
Earlier in the year.
Yeah. My friend, he's a huge... Well, he loves the song Careless Whisper, and I guess you can call him a huge...
Who doesn't love Careless Whispers?
He plays that song whenever he gets a chance, anytime. He'll play Careless Whisper. Exactly. So when he found out, he took a nice little blow there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not Wham, by the way. It's Wham!
Yeah.
And then Last Guardian?
The game.
Oh, I didn't play it.
Yep.
There's lots of games I didn't play this year, John,
yeah,
so.
Clearly. It was a very fun game.
Well, I'm catching up on games from 2 years ago.
Yeah, the only reason I put that on there is because that game was announced in 2006, and it finally came out.
I know. And then two other last things.
Yeah.
Another thing passed away, and it was Ronda Rousey's career.
Oh my god.
I have to say it.
Well, I'm not even going to say poor Ronda, because I'm pretty sure she got millions for that fight.
She did get millions, but she's never going to fight again. I know that. I know that for a fact, because the way she fought before this fight, she was shook. She was so broken down to her core from that last fight.
Right.
She was saying that she was going to commit suicide and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, you flew pretty high before you came crashing down. So I get that.
Yeah.
But now, she's going to fight worse than what she did. I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't even know who's listening, but I know we have our own followers who may be into, UFC fighting and just, sports in general. But here's what I know. I think she's an okay fighter. I think she's a good fighter. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
I think she was much better at trash talking and getting into the minds of her opponents. And so when the fight started, they were already wounded. And she just, capitalized and she took over. But there was no trash talking for this match that came up. So I'm like, this is going to be like, if she won this fight, she would have had to have done an immense amount of training.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. She trained thinking that she was going to continue where she left off, and she got had for lunch.
She got
breakfast, lunch, and for dinner.
Yeah.
It was terrible, man. It was, oh my god. People paid $60 for that game. Oh.
Yup.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, she got, as I say.
She got. Ronda Rousey's career, 2016. Done. And then, the very last moment, New Year's Eve. Like, minutes before the ball dropped. Mariah Carey. I didn't even see it. Did you see it?
I didn't watch it
live?
No,
I didn't watch it either. I saw it the day after, and I'm like, man, everyone's talking about,
how
Mariah
badly
Carey.
she did. Yeah.
But did you see it now?
I did.
She didn't. She didn't. Everyone says that she screwed up. I don't know if she screwed up so much as she didn't sing.
Yeah, exactly. She just very horribly lip sang.
Which, I mean, I don't get angry at lip syncing, because I know how that works.
Yeah.
I don't. They do it every single year.
Yeah.
You can't be. You're telling me, what was it? Was it this year or was it last year? No, I'm sorry. Was it last year or the year before that when Missy Elliott came out for the Super Bowl?
Oh, that's right. Yes, that was
Was that
last year's.
last year, right?
That was
You're
I think
telling
that was
me
2015.
she's what, in her 40s?
Yeah.
She looks the same. Has she been doing cardio? Because there's no way you're going to be running and jumping all over the stage and you're going to sound just like you did on the album. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
People are paying to see you. They don't want you to sing. They don't want you to rap. Just get out of there with that.
Yeah.
So, her singing, I didn't expect her to sing. I know she sings well. And if she doesn't sing well anymore, that's fine because I know that she has her albums.
Right.
But people were like really upset and like started to boo her. And I don't understand like where is that coming from because her being booed means what to you? Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't get that. Like I don't understand why you have to boo somebody.
I don't know. People are weird. People are mean.
People, I mean, a part of me wants to understand it, but a part of me doesn't understand it at all.
Yeah.
She, to me it felt like, oh, the awkward girl that's at karaoke that keeps missing the lines.
Right.
You've been to karaoke. You've seen it happen. It happens every time.
Yep.
She kept saying, like I need help. Like nothing's on my monitor. She probably can't even hear the song because people in front of her are screaming. People around her are like cheering. She can't hear anything. The only thing that she needs is the little bouncing ball and the text.
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing. I'm not a singer, but I can get it. You know what I mean?
You can empathize.
I can totally empathize. Totally. So that was right under the wire. And then the ball dropped. Right on.
One last meme before 2016 ended.
One last meme. So 2016, in summary.
It was painful to the last minute, pretty much.
To the last second. Oh my god! I gotta laugh because if you're not laughing, this is hilarious. I mean, it's if you're not laughing, it's funny.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to laugh. You have to.
This will be something that we're probably going to mention. It could be 2016. Like it was just so many bad things that happened.
Yeah, but again, you have to laugh about it. You have to be able to move on. You have to be able to be like, you know what, that happened, but let's keep going. Let's keep walking.
Hey, listen, we're here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
be grateful for the people who are still here and things like that.
That's true too. That's true. So that's it. That's 2016. We have a lot of movies that are coming out, which we're going to be talking about. We have a lot of new games that are going to be coming out that we're going to be talking about. We have a lot of new projects that are going to be on the way that we're going to be talking about.
Some are already underway.
They're already underway. But yeah, that's it. That was 2016.
It was, again, pretty painful the last minute.
Yeah. But guess what? It's a new year, and I choose to have an excellent year. And make my own opportunities, starting with this show.
Oh, yeah. So we have some pretty neat things heading our way. Stay tuned for more info.
Yes. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll tell you what, if you like what we had to say, follow us on Twitter. I am at Jace Rockland, and Josh.
I am at JCI90. You can also find us at FGC Podcast or email us at freshgeekcontext@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website for Fresh Geek Context for past episodes. And lastly, if you could, please hit that subscribe button for us on iTunes. It goes a long way for us to know that you're listening. You can go to the podcast section or the podcast app on your iPhone or iPad and share with your friends so they can be Fresh Geeks too. Everyone, Happy New Year.
2016 out. Rip in peace, Harambe!